Starting on Lamed Dalet and Bais. Is it good to say that it's a difficult Gemara or not? Is it good to introduce it's a difficult Gemara, it's not a difficult Gemara? Or just leave it blank? We'll figure it out. The Amar of Yosef. I remember I bought a Yalkut Yosef, big set. I'm carrying it out in the car, so it's heavy. So the guy selling it to me from Tershad, he says, it's a lot harder to learn. Okay. Rabbi Yosef says, it's the second line down in the wide lines. Rabbi Yosef says, Ki Pashat Reb Shimon ben Lakish Bizav Boy Hachi. When Reish Lakish is an Amor in Eretz Yisrael, this brother-in-law of Rabbi Yochanan, when he taught the halachas of Zav is a man that has a mission that's not normal. And Rabbi Yosef is saying this over. Rabbi Yosef here is in Bubble, is saying over what Reish Lakish taught. Not sure how he has that information. But when Reish Lakish taught this, Reish Lakish had a question. Let me finish the reading and then I'll go back to explain it. You see, really, a person should only give off tumah once they're of age. We had a special limud from Pasuk before that teaches us that a zav, this type of emission, gives off tumah even when the person is 1 day old. We learned a zavah from 1 day old and a zav as well, even if they're 1 day old. We learned it from a pasuk. Okay, now that's a special limud by zav. How does zav work? If there's this emission once, so he's tamei only for that day. What about the actual substance itself that came out? It's only tamei b'maga, only tamei for touching. If he sees a second time, the second riyah, sighting, second seeing, then he's tamei for 7 days and he needs shiva nekiyim. The man needs shiva nekiyim, 17 days. If he sees a third time, then he brings a carbon. But from the second time, that's the real zav. From the second, that's where the tumah zav all comes on. Now, what happens the first time? So we have a limud that the first time is tamei as well, because we compare it to shechva zera. Now, shechva zera is a normal sort of emission. Comes out, the body is warmed, excited, and it would emit from the body. Now that has a lesser tumah, but it's still tamei from one time. And we're talking about the substance itself, it also has a tumah. So what we're asking here is that I know that a child, a katan, has tumah zav. When does zav start? The real zav starts from the second time. If it would be an adult, so there would be a type of tumah that comes on him the first time as well, because there's a comparison to shechva zera. But because the child doesn't have tumah shechvas, the tumah of shechva zera, he only has a tumah of a zav. So what about a child that sees zav, but it's the first time? That's the question. So do we say that only someone that has shechva zera, which means an adult, would have the tumah on the first substance that comes out, that emits? Or maybe we can say different. Kivan de ilu I chazi tarti mitzdarfa. If you would see a second time, this first emission would come out. Look, you just said that a child has zav. How does zav work? You have to have a second time. So if you have a second time, you have a first time. You can't have a second without a first. So the first one needs to be able to combine to the second. To have a second, you need to have a first, right? So matama, so therefore the first one should also give off tumah, just like that would work by an adult, that the first one combines to the second. So here also the first combines to the second. It just reminds me because this chazi litzdarufe is a term that's used in the Machlekes Rabbi and Reish Lakish about a chatzi shir. And here we have Reish Lakish mentioning this chazi litzdarufe. It's that same term, but really over there was Rabbi Yochanan that said it. Rabbi Yochanan holds chatzi shir is also Menachem, is also Menachem. One of the reasons it's Machlekes. It's Machlekes and Yomi. I thought it was right. Rabbi Yochanan or Shlakish. Okay, whatever the case is, this term is that a legma ketanai? This term chazi litzdarufe would make that the first one should be tummy as well. Okay. Yeah. So Rava is going to try to answer the question. Amar Rava. Rava says Tashma. Rava in Abaya. Abaya is really more of a student of Rabbi Yosef. But nevertheless, in this conversation here, we're going to have it twice. That Rava is going to try to answer Rabbi Yosef's question. Abaya is going to come in later in this discussion as well. So Rava says Tashma. Zeis teres hazav. These are the laws of the zav. And it's quoting a Bais. The Bais says, "Bein gadol, bein katan." Whether it's an adult or a child, ma gadol, just as an adult, ri rishayna shalem matame, al katan ri rishayna nami matame. Yes, a clear Bais that says that the ri rishayna, the first sighting of a child, is also tummy. Okay. Next point of the year. Boy, Rabbi Yosef. Rabbi Yosef has his own question. Last one was a question from Reish Lakish. Here his question is like this. You see, a Zav needs to see twice. The first time he sees doesn't have the status of Ziva yet. It only has the status of Shechva Zera. And the status of Shechva Zera is that it's tamei through touching, not tamei through lifting up. Tumas masa, when you lift it up without actually contact with the substance itself, that's an extra severe tumah that only applies to ziva. That would only apply to the second seeing. We said that we had an extra severe, extra stringent. That only applies to the second one, not to the first seeing. However, here there's a Mitzayra. We said that the Mayanis, we had an extra word by Yazav, and it says it's coming to teach us that the Mayanis, the fountains, or the springs of a Mitzayra are also Tamei. Okay, so now what we're looking at here is like this. We have the first Riyah of a Zav, the first sighting of a Zav, that's also a Mitzayra. Do we say that because all the fountains, all the fluids of a Mitzayra are Tamei, so this gets the status of the fluids of a Mitzayra, and therefore it's going to be Tamei as well, or the Masa, with lifting it up? Or do we say that no, this is not considered one of the fountains, one of the springs of the fluids of a Mitzayra? When we spoke about the fluids of the Mitzayra, we were talking about the spit or the urine. So let's see. Do we say that the location, the source of where Ziva comes from, is considered a spring? That's a literal translation of Mayan. It's considered one of the sources of fluids in the body. And therefore, it's Tamei, because all the sources of fluids in the Mitzayra are Tamei. Or maybe Lav Mayan, or maybe this is not a Mayan. We included all the fluids of a Mitzayra. We weren't including the Makam Ziva. We were including spit and urine that collects. Spit collects in the mouth, and you spit it out. And urine also collects in it, and then you pass it out. Amar Rava, so Rava is going to answer this question as well. Tashma. Come and listen. Zayvay Tamei. It says that his zav is tamei. Limit al zav shu tamei. This is telling us that the zav itself is tamei. The fluid itself is tamei. That's what it's saying. It says b'mai. What are we talking about here? That you say the fluid of the zav, that liquid, that substance itself is tamei. Eily b'zav greda. Are we talking about a regular zav that's not a mitzaira? The word greda means alone. Do we say a zav alone with no other problem here? He's not a leper. So la'acherim geirim tuma la'atzmei like kolshkein. This is a simple kal v'chaimer. Kal v'chaimer goes like this: that if the substance of a zav causes the person to become tamei, shouldn't the substance itself be tamei? No, where the fine point here is that if the substance of zav that emits from the body causes the person to become tamei, if someone would lift up the person, masmasa, without touching him, so the person that lifted him would become tamei. So shouldn't the substance itself become tamei through lifting? Because to masmasa, anyone that if you lift them, you have to wash your clothing.
You lifted this person.
Why did you lift him?
At what point did you lift him?
After he's tamei. The tamei person.
Oh, okay, guys. He became tamei. So you lifted the person.
If you lift
yourself,
right.
So it's the liquid. So the point is that he has a different level of stringency than the
yeah. So what the Gemara is saying is like this: that if lifting the person gives off tumah, how did this person become tamei? Only through the substance. So if the substance causes such tumah, shouldn't lifting the substance itself make a person tamei through lifting it? Now, once I have that kal v'chaimer, so what do I need the pasuk for? That the substance itself gives off is in the tamei. So it must be. Once I have a kal v'chaimer, I don't need the pasuk. So elapshita, it's obvious b'zav mitzaira that we're dealing with not a regular zav. We're dealing with a zav that's a mitzaira that's a zav. Now what happens now? What happens now is we gain 1 point. We lose a kal v'chaimer. That's what we gain. Because why is the mitzaira tamei? Not because of the substance that emitted from him. He's tamei anyway. He's a tamei because he's a mitzaira. So the substance is doing nothing to add to his tumah. So therefore, I need a pasuk to tell me that in such a case, the substance is tamei. When we did shechkrol rebuye, now you need a pasuk to tell me the substance is tamei. So b'riyah shniya, you have no proof that it's the first riyah, the first seeing of the zav that gives off the tumah. It could be only the second one because I don't have any kal v'chaimer for anything here. This mitzvah was always tamei. Shma mina makom ziva lav mayanu. We see that the first sighting, the first seeing of the ziva is not really a fluid of a mitzvah. It's only the second one that I have a special pasuk that would tell me is tamei. Amalei Rav Yehuda midiskarta l'Rava. Rav Yehuda midiskarta, I don't know if he's on the charts. He says to Rava mimai. Where do you get this kal v'chaimer from? That if the person himself becomes tamei only through seeing, so for sure only through seeing the substance, so the substance itself for sure should be tamei. It's not such a good kal v'chaimer. Really, I could say to you, the zav greda. When we're talking about a regular zav, and the pasuk has to tell me that the substance is tamei. Why? You said that if it causes, the substance causes someone to be tamei, so the substance itself must be tamei. It's not true. What about the goat that sent off the Zazel on Yom Kippur? It says that the one that walks it, the one that takes it there, has to wash his clothes. That means that the person, what does it say? Becomes tamei, and the animal itself is not tamei. So why? Because anything alive can't be tamei except for a human being, except for a Jew.
Isn't there a halacha that like once something is basically about to be dead?
It's considered dead?
Yeah.
Yeah, but this is not about to be dead. This is he pushed it off.
Then they're watching but we know it's fake.
So, yeah, but that wouldn't count. We're talking about maybe there's such a thing as a gistra, the Gemara calls it, when an animal is chopped in half and it's not really dead yet, but we say it's so dead that it's considered dead. It gives off tumah already. But here, so the animal is not tummy, and nevertheless, the animal makes the person tummy. So you see that just because it makes something else tummy doesn't mean that it's tummy. It's thinking about paraduma water or something. Yeah, but the person that carries it becomes tummy. Oh, that's a chayk. Okay. All of this is a chayk. That's okay, so whatever the case is, Rabbi Yehuda Nidda Daf is telling Rava that you don't have such a strong kal v'chomer because we have a source that where this kal v'chomer, which knocks off the kal v'chomer. The source is the goat that goes to Azazel. Now, if that's the case, if that's the case, then maybe we're discussing a regular zav. And the pasuk is telling me that a regular zav, the substance is tummy. And the substance is tummy. It's talking about even the first time. That's the main point over here, because this question was if it's the first time or the second time. If you learned like the way Rav is answering, then it's only going to tell us that the second time is tummy. The way Rabbi Yehuda Nidda Daf is telling me is that no, the pasuk is telling me that limid alazav, that would be even the first time is tummy. Amar Abaya. Abaya now comes in and says, "Mighty Eily, what's Rabbi Yosef's whole question over here about the first seeing of a mitzvah, if it's going to be give off tumas masa, tumah of lifting it? Who the Amar? But he was the one that taught Zeis Teres Azav Bein Gadol Bein Katan, that ziva applies whether it's a adult or a child. Therefore, I have an extra pasuk of V'Hazav Zayvai to include the Mitzayra. Ukivan the Nafkale Mehasam, I say Leila Zachal Rabis Mitzayra Lamainaisav Nekeva Rabis Mitzayras Lamainaisah. According to Rabbi Yosef, I have an extra pasuk to tell me that the fluids of a Mitzayra are tummy. Ba'akshe Rachmana Mitzayra Lizav Gomer. And the Torah, the Eibishter Rachmana, compares a Mitzayra to a Zav. But what type of Zav? A Mitzayra is compared to a Zav that's saw twice. Ma'asev Gomer Metambiv Masa, for Yerushan Shal Mitzayra Metambiv Masa. There's a comparison of a Mitzayra to a Zav. Is every fluid of a Mitzayra gives off a tumah that a Zav who saw twice would give off. So since the tumah of a Zav of the second time of a Zav is tumas masa, so therefore any fluids of a Mitzayra is going to be tumas masa.
Is after the Mitzvah has been declared?
Yeah. Now,
so then
the
it's
problem.
not a good analogy.
I'm sorry?
It's not a good comparison. Because it would be a good comparison if the Zav had already been determined. It would be like comparing second to the first.
Right.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There's already been a halakha ruling.
No, 1 second. A Mitzayra that's been declared, all of his fluids are tamei, just like a Zav that's been declared. Zav doesn't really need to be declared, but who saw it twice. So, therefore, the tumah of therefore the fluids of a Mitzayra, even if it's his first seeing of a Mitzayra, should be as tamei as a Zav that saw it twice. That's the comparison. The only problem is that I knew that, but we didn't know if this was one of the fluids. That was Rabbi Yosef's question. I think the answer is that the fact that it says lezachar to teach me this tells me that I need specific fluids of a male that will give off tuma in addition to what a female would give off. So therefore that's the proof because I'm learning from lezachar. So therefore the fluids of a zav, which is a male fluid, that gives off this extra tuma. Okay. Amar Rav Huna. Now Rav Huna is going to make a statement. And Rav Huna is a student of Rav. And we're going to discuss Rav Huna's statement for about a page. Go back and forth. We say yes, no, all of this. It's accurate. Amar Rav Huna. Rav Huna says, Riya Rishayna Shel Zav Mitama Ba'inus. This is a very big chiddush. Shenemar Zayster Sazav Asher Teitz Menu Shech Vazera. Ma Shech Vazera Mitama Ba'inus Afi Rishayna Shel Zav Mitama Ba'inus. A zav is a fluid that comes out without the body being warmed, without the excitement of the body. It comes out. The Gemara on the next page is going to say it comes out with the aver mace when the organ is not erect. It flows out. And Shechvazar comes out the opposite, comes out with the body's warmed. Now, the first seeing of a zav only has the tumah of a shechvazera. Doesn't have more than that. Comes along Rav Huna and says that the first seeing of a zav could be, even if it came out with the excitement of that, would usually be by shechvazera. I have a special halacha. The second seeing of a zav, 100%, it says it's not matame ba'inus. It's only tame if there's no cause for it. If there's no natural cause for this to happen. So, no occurrence that made this happen.
It's not done.
He won't be a zav if there is a reason to attribute. Why is he having this emission? You say, because his body was warmed. We have what to attribute. He's not a zav. It's a regular shechvazer, a regular carry. He doesn't have to wait 7 days, all of that extra tumah. The only thing is that the first seeing of a zav doesn't have all of those stringencies, and comes along Rav Huna and says that the first seeing could be considered a first seeing of a zav to count the second one too, even though there were occurrences that we can attribute why this is happening.
Rabbi, what today, the medical determination of zav today in the
I tried to say that once, and the doctor said,
No, but one of the things that there's, like when you hear about
you cannot say nothing about it. Go ahead.
I'm trying to be.
I'm sure your medical insurance.
There's an dysfunction that people hear about all the time. They have, for which there's pills. All right. There's a difference between that and just the other E of Zov, all right? And it's two different mechanisms. One cannot be able to do one, but be able to do the other. So it seems we're talking about the person that has, you're not allowed, don't let me say anything here, is that they can do one. It's irrelevant that they can't do the other, whether they can or not. We're talking about the first one, which is the Zov. In other words, you don't need both.
How do you say that?
Well, I can't say it in English if you shut off the record. The Zov is EJ, and then the rest of them are.
Good job. That's a good confuse us more than what we was reviewing.
Only because I can't say words. I can't say anything without even saying anything.
yes, the Gemara is going to say, listen to this. The Gemara's definition on the next page is that
Trying to explain something without saying anything.
the Gemara's definition is that the fluid of a zav is like water that barley is soaked in, and it's similar to the white of an egg that's spoiled, which means that unfertilized egg. the white of an unfertilized egg, not boiled.
Then
Of a raw egg. The shechva zera, it says, is similar to a fertilized egg. I guess that means that it's more being held together. It doesn't like drip out. It's more of like a substance that's viscous, maybe. Okay. You follow the chiddush of Rav Huna? He's telling you that the criteria of a zav is only limit. That criteria of how it emits from the body is only on the second seeing. But the first seeing of a zav, the fluid is going to be different. But the first seeing of a zav could emit with causes that would cause also shechva zera to emit. And it's still going to be considered the first seeing of a zav. Tashema, which is astringency. It could turn a person into a zav with much easier. Okay. Tashema, come and listen. This is bringing proofs one way or another. I didn't say a bracha yet,
Amen.
Baruch Shem Kavod, you did. No, I'm just kidding.
Funny, yesterday I was carrying something in the school. I put it down somewhere. I didn't know where I put it. It was one of the boys' things. I will look and check there, check there. I looked on the camera to see where I was walking. So I found where I put my.
Rabbi, you're too young.
Not a good sign. Not a good sign.
I'm waking up to
Okay.
Sleep deprivation.
So, Ra Ria Rishaina, if someone sees one seeing, what can I say? They have to check if there was any cause for him to see it. What do they check? You see it. If they check if his body was warmed, if he ate spicy foods, if he did certain exercises, my love, what are we checking? L'tumah, to see if he should become tamei in the second time. And nevertheless, if he's going to have any cause, he's not going to become tamei. It's a strong kasha on Rav Huna. Rav Huna says you don't have to check for the first one to see if there's going to be a second one. The Gemara says loyla carbon. We're not checking for tumah. Tumah is going to happen, but we're checking to see if we can calculate this into the third one to be a carbon. For a carbon, we have an extra law. Rav Huna was just talking about the tumah. This is getting highly complex. That he's going to be tamei. For a third one, we're going to need an extra one, and so he's going to be tamei after 2, and he's going to need 4 for carbon. Tashema. That way we've answered Rav Huna. Come and listen. V'shniya baitin, I say. And the second one, you have to check to see if there's any cause other than just the regular zav. Lamai, what are we checking for? Eily mala carbon. Are we checking if he's to see if it's going to combine to a carbon? Avalatuma. Loi, but not for tumah. In other words, for tumah, he's going to be tamei anyway. We don't have to check for tumah. This is an impossibility. What are you talking about? They have a clear limit from a pasuk that the only way a zav is tamei is only if it zav mi basari, it comes out from the flesh without any cause and without any excitement.
No, cannot honest. Again.
Yeah, but the Einus over here is difficult to translate. How do they translate Einus? Here. Stimulus. Einus is stimulus. Oh, that's the word. That's a good word. The pasuk says that mibasara, it comes out from his flesh, but not from any stimulus. And here we're saying that that the stimulus doesn't matter b'negei tumah. He's going to be tummy anyway. You're only checking to see for the carbon. It says clear that the stimulus matters for tumah. So therefore, if elalav l'tumah, it must be that you're checking for stimulus to see if he's tummy for the second time. Oh, 1 second. If you're checking for stimulus in the second seeing to see if he's tamei, not just to see if he's going to bring a korban if he sees the third time. Nidda Daf, we had two Baises here. They're connected. First Bais says that you have to check him the first seeing to see if there was stimulus, and the second Bais says you have to check the second one, the second seeing to see if there's stimulus. Now, if the second one is clearly to see if he's tamei, then the first one must also be to see if he's tamei. This would be a kasha on Rav Huna.
What's the check?
Check means that he has to look.
The guy that's 2 hours from Basin.
Check means he has to look in his diary to see what he ate, to see if there's any stimulus that would have caused. Yeah, there's 7 things. It's food, drink, carrying a load, jumping, illness, and sight or thought of a woman. Is that 7? Yeah, and those would be the factors that would make it only Tamei Shefa Zera, not Zav. Those would be stimulus that would cause Shefa Zera. Zav is something else. It's some other illness, some other tummy.
That's very interesting. We're now going to hop on over and drag those 2 hours to Basin to tell them what happened. Not everybody lives next door.
Okay.
You should move to a Jewish community.
Yeah, why are you living there?
2 hours. We didn't have cars. 2 hours wasn't that far away.
The villages were all around one center. We used to have one little circle, and they lived around the circle. And in that circle, there was a shul, lahavdil, a church, and a grocery store, and a fire station. Everyone lived in the circle around it.
Only one shul, not 2 shuls.
Yeah. That was in someone's house, the shtiebel.
He called me.
The shtiebel. Okay, so now we have a kasha on Rav Huna because me the sefer l'tumaration nami l'tuma.
Back then, the church.
By the way, if you go to these little villages in Europe, it's built like that.
Yes.
They actually have. Like I was in Wales, little place, and everything was all built around this little circle. Okay, so it's a kasha on Rav Huna. Obviously, you have to examine the first one as well to see if there was stimulus. Rav Huna says you don't have to examine to see if there was stimulus. Gemara says, me the area. You really have to grab it like that and say that it's all one. Hakadisa, hakadisa. The first Brisa was talking about bringing a korban. Yeah, you have to examine. And the second Brisa is talking about if he's tamei. You don't have to throw them all into one pot and say it's the same thing. Now that's a daichek, because when you're reading one sentence and then the following sentence to say that it's talking about something else. But to answer Rav Huna, that's what we're going to do. Tashima, come and listen. Rabbi Lezer, Eimer, af b'shlishi baitkin I say mipnei korban. The third one, you have to examine to see if there was stimulus, to see if he's going to bring a korban. The only difference between seeing twice and just seeing 3 times by his Zav is if he brings a korban. Yes, we're going to examine to see if he has to bring a korban. Michlal, this is only the opinion of Rabbi Eliezer. It implies from the fact that Rabbi Eliezer says you have to examine, the Tanakama, Nipnei Atuma Kama. Tanakama holds that the examinations that we're talking about here are not for korban. The Tanakama holds that all the examinations are only to see if he's tamei. The stimulus is to see if he's tamei. This goes back to be a problem with Rav Huna, because the only way we could resolve Rav Huna was by saying, why do you have to do examination the first time? It's a brisa, is to say it's really not for tum. It's really just to see if the third time it's going to be require him a korban. Now, if that's the case, then Rabbi Lezer says the third time you have to do an examination to see if there was stimulus for the korban. Very good. But the Tanakama argues on him and says that you don't need to do an examination. That means that according to the Tanakama, what was the examinations that they agreed to in the first and second time? That was to see if he's tamei. Now that would be a problem for Rav Huna, because according to Rav Huna, you don't need any. The stimulus didn't matter if he's tamei. He would be tamei anyway. Gemara says, like the kuli alma la korban. Everyone holds that the examinations are only for Karban and not for Tumah. V'hacha ba'asim kamiflagi. They're arguing about the word S. It says S in the Torah. There's a machlekes. It goes like this: Rabbanan loy darshi yasim, Rabbi Elazar darish yasim. The Rabbanan don't darshan an S, and Rabbi Elazar darshans the S. Anyone remember who darshaned all the S? It's one Tana. And there was.
Big money, big money,
It was
big
Rabbi
money.
Akiva that told him not to stop.
Big money, big money, big money.
Was it Shimon Amsuni? Shimon Amsuni hayadirish kol asim shabbatayra ad shaba le es Hashem alekecha tira and pirish. It says kshem shekibalti shar al drisha kach kibalti shar al prisha. When it comes to you should fear Hashem, your God, it says S. It says you can't fear anything else other than God. So he says obviously I can't darshan S. And Rabbi Akiva told him no. S is coming to include L'Rabbe's Talmidei Chachamim. You can still darshan the Essen, and that one also has. Okay, so here we have Rabbi Eliezer. The Medrash tells you like Eis Hashemayim v'Eis Haaretz. The Medrash says Eis is coming to include everything in the heavens, and Eis Haaretz is coming to everything in the earth. The Gemara says Es B'Sarai, coming to include the here needs to go into the mikveh as well. The S is used to include things. So the Rabbanan don't darshan S, and Rabbi Elazar does darshan S. So what is the pasuk? We'll see in a moment. Rabbanan lay darshi yasim. The Rabbanan don't darshan. It goes like this. The pasuk says Hazav es Zayvai. Hazav is Chada. S they don't darshan. Zayvai is Tarti. L'Zachar. Tarti. Tarti l'Zachar. This is as far as it goes for the Zachar. And B'shlishi Yakshi Rachmana l'Nekeva. On the third one, that's compared to the woman. Now the woman doesn't have any limitations on how she sees dam, how the blood comes, if there's any stimulus or not. There's no such law that you have to examine, was there stimulus for the blood or not. She's coming no matter what. The Rabbanan hold that in the third one, stimulus doesn't need to be measured. We don't have to look for stimulus. Only the first two. So that's why they argue with Rabbi Elazar that you don't have to check the third time. But really, what are they checking for? They could be checking for the carbon as well, not for Tumah. For Rabbi Eliezer Darish Asim, Rabbi Eliezer does Darshan Asim. Hazav is Chada. S is Tarti. The S is the second time, not the second seeing. And Zayva is Tzlas. And Beravi Yakshir Rachman al Nekeva. If they see after 3 times, then it's compared to a Nekeva where it's going to be Tumah there, whether there's stimulus or not. What do we gain by doing this complication here? We gain that the Rabbanan could still be talking about Karban, that the examination of the first 2 times is to see if it's going to add for the third time, to see if there's you bring a Karban. But for Tumah, nevertheless, there could be Tumah even if there was stimulus on the first seeing. Tashema, come and listen. Rabbi Yitzchak Kaiman. Rabbi Yitzchak says, Zav Bechlal Bal Kari Haya. Zav, without the special halachas of Zav, would have been just a regular Bal Kari. Balama Yatza, why does it go out to have its own halachas? Lahakal alav, lahachmer alav. Do we say this in davening? Davar Shaya Bechlal, Yatza lahakal lahachmer. Called Davar Shaya Bechlal. No, that's Yatza lalamid alaklal.
Wake him up and ask.
So okay, so it says Yatza lahakel ulahachmer. It's coming to give us a leniency and a stringency about Zav over Shech Vasera. What is the lahakel? Lahakel alav, the leniency, is she'ein metame ba'inus. The Zav doesn't have tumah if there was stimulus. Lahachmer alav, what is the stringency? Sho'esim nishkav u'maishav, that it gives off a much stricter tumah, which is things that he sits on as well, becomes tumah. Special tumah comes out of tumah. Now the Gemara asks, this Bais Emas, what are you talking about that the Zav was included in Shech Vasera? Eily Mabriya Shniya. If you say it's a second seeing, Eicha have b'chlal bal keri. What do you mean that it was included in Shechva Zera? You started off saying that Zav Haisa B'chlal Balkari. Zav B'chlal Balkari Haya. It would have been a Balkari. The second seeing, not sure what it means over here. Eicha Have B'chlal Balkari. How was the second seeing supposed to be included in the Balkari? Let me look at your. Where in Scripture was a second discharge ever included in the category of one who omitted semen? Let's see what the Gemara says. El Pshita Bria Rishayna. The Ria Rishayna would have been included would have been a regular Balkari. One seeing of a Zav, Uktani, and nevertheless Lahakal Alav. There is a leniency there. Sheina Matama Bainas. That it doesn't have Tuma if there was stimulus. So that's going to be a question on Rav Huna. The Gemara says, "V'tizbra, do you really think so?" Lahachmer alav, when it goes to say the stringency. What's the stringency? Shuaisa mishka v'maishav. That this cheer of a zav gives off tuma. Is there mishka v'maishav? Is that tuma by a first seeing? It's only by the second seeing. So therefore, the leniency can only be by the second seeing as well. Rav Huna's right. Elahachi kama Reb Yitzchak. Rather, Elahachi kama. This is what it's saying. Reb Yitzchak says, "V'lei zav b'chlal balkari." Zav was included in a balkari Ria Rishayna. In the first seeing, it would have been a regular balkari. V'lama yatsa b'ria shniya. And why does it leave the status when it sees a second time? Lahakal alav v'lahachmer alav. To have both a leniency and a stringency. What we just did over here was we said we didn't want to say a second seeing of a zav would have been a balkari, because where do you have a balkari having two seeings? You don't have that. So it's really a zav would have been a balkari with one seeing, but with the second seeing it leaves being a balkari and goes to a new status. That's lahakalav lahachmer alav. What's the leniency? Lahakalav sheina matama bainas, lahachmer alav shuaisa mishka v'maishav. Okay, this leaves us with some complications. If someone sees, let's read one more piece of Gemara and it'll be easier for us to summarize. I wonder if there's charts in the art scroll to summarize the different things. Amar Rav Huna. Rav Huna says, Zav daima lemei batzik shel sa'irim. Rav Huna says that the Zav is similar to the barley water. Zayiv ma b'b'sar ames. Zayiv comes from B'sar ames. It means that it's not erect. The organ is not erect. Shechva zera mambim b'sar chai. Shechva zera comes from living basar. That means that it is erect. Zayiv deha. Zayiv is deha. Deha means that it's not. Rashi's translate. It's not. What is it? Viscosity.
It is running.
Running.
It is viscous. Oh, no, it's not viscous.
It's not held together. It just like drops out. It doesn't hold the substance in the. It means weak in color usually.
Yeah.
Like dim.
Like syrup.
It could be color. Or it could be right. But the daima laluvan beyam lazeres, and it's similar to a egg that hasn't been fertilized. Laluvan beyam lazeres. Yeah, that's not fertilized. And shechva zera is kshura. Shechva zera is viscous. The daima laluvan beyash einam lazeres, and it's similar to an egg that is einam lazeres, that is fertilized. Okay. What are we left with here? Zav sees twice, and he's tamei. Sees the third time, and he has to bring a korban. According to Rav Huna, the first time, the stimulus doesn't matter. If there was stimulus on the first time, if you saw Zav the first time, so he's still going to be tamei if he sees the second time. However, if there was stimulus on the first time, then his carbon is not going to be the third time. He's going to have to wait for the fourth time for the carbon. If there was stimulus for the second time, then he's not even tamei. And for the third time stimulus, that's a machlekes Rabbanan and Rabbi Eliezer if stimulus matters in the third time.
When you said this would be a difficult Gemara, I right away.
Should I start the next thing? Yeah, this is okay. Let's see how far I can get. Dami Eleda Shlei Tavla. We had a machlekes Beisil and Beishamai. If a woman gives birth and she has blood, now the blood switches from being tamei to tahar after 7 or 14 days, but she didn't go to the mikveh. So Beishamai said that this blood has a certain din derabanan that it's tamei, but it's really not tamei. It's really tar. Beisil says no, it's tamei midayraisa. Machlekes, if this blood is tamei midayraisa, she's during her dam tayar. She's during her days of purity, 33 days, 66 days, where the blood is tar. But nevertheless, Beisil says tamei midayraisa because she didn't go to the mikveh to separate. So now the Gemara is going to discuss this. Tanya was starting a brayso. Amalam Beisil leBeishamai. Beisil says to Beishamai, don't you agree? If a woman is in Nidda, she doesn't go to the mikveh, and she sees blood, don't you agree that she's tamei? Amalam Beishamai. Beishamai says, what are you talking about? What type of comparison is that? That's a huge thing. Even if she went to the mikveh, she'll be tamei. What type of logic is that? You're comparing it to something that's so different. So different. This woman, if she goes to the mikveh, she sees blood. The blood is tahar. She's during her days of purity, the 33 or 66 days. One second. Let's say she gave birth during the days of Ziva, and so therefore she has to wait another 7 days. She imtavla that if she goes to the mikveh, that if she goes to the mikveh and she sees the blood, then she's going to be tahar because she's during her days of purity. But loitavla barasa tmeya. If she doesn't go to the mikveh and she sees blood, she's going to be tamei. Amalem huadin. They say that Beishamai says we hold the same thing, that blood is going to be tar. You bring a proof, but that's only your whole proof is self-referencing. According to your opinion, you have a proof. We don't hold of your opinion, and we don't hold of your proof. Huadin v'huatshuva. That's the same law. L'meimra, you want to say the pligi that they argue about Yeledes B'zoid, if a woman gives birth during the days of Ziva, that if she doesn't go to the mikveh and then she sees blood, if it's going to be tamei, that's machlekes. But our Mishnah said clearly, our Mishnah says that they agree in that case that it's tamei. Svatanan, right? It's our Mishnah. The Mishnah continues. The Gemara says like kasha. It's not a problem. That's an easy answer. Can't she suffer? Can't she suffer? Depends if she went to the mikveh before she counted the 7 days, if she didn't count the 7 days. If she sees during the 7 days, then everyone agrees that she's tamei, but she didn't count the days of Ziva. But if she already counted, so then that's going to be a machlekes Beisham Beisil. The Gemara says, "V'atanya Yeledes B'zayv Shesafer Leitavla Barasa Halcha Beishamai L'Shitasan Beisil L'Shitasan." We even have a brayso that proves that if she counted the 7 days but she didn't go to the mikveh, that itself is a machlekes Beisil and Beishamai. Okay, the next Gemara that we learn tomorrow, very famous Gemara.
Is it very difficult tomorrow?
No, it's a very famous Gemara, and it even involves Yal Kagam machlekes by another. It's very interesting. Okay. Have a good day.
You too. Thank you.